So since I have the opportunity, I am going to take the opportunity to provide a small bit of feedback. I think that Ahmed and Evan have done an excellent job. The speakers have all been excellent. I will say I was mildly disappointed at lunch. It is pie day, and we had cake for dessert. It is mild feedback, but I do want to. Second, neat, the timer's not going yet. Second, yeah, it's not an accident. I don't have a PowerPoint deck. On the other hand, will reference this, but I'm not going to be using it for. It does mean I have no power. I might have a point. We'll find out. And I will say from listening today to think, I wish that federal government was as fast as IBM's slow proposals at 6 months. I wish that all of the cultural things I've heard, I think, are reiterated, and I love it. So, as Shannon said, I'm the Chief Solutions Architect at Sevatec, but that's kind of irrelevant for why I'm here today. I used to work at USCIS, and I know we have a large international contingent here. CIS is Citizenship and Immigration Services. No, I cannot help you with your green cards. Partly because I no longer work there. But so this is about the transformation we made at USCIS and at DHS in general. One of the things that I was asked, tell this story, and I like to tell the story of the things that we did within procurement. I want people to listen. Who's the antagonist in this story? I'm not going to tell you now. I'll give you my opinions as we hit the end. But listen for who the antagonist is in this story, because I don't think it's who we all think it is. So about 5 years ago, I guess it is now, Mark Schwartz, who was a CIO, convinced me to come help change USCIS and be a better organization. And I'm going to come in and I'm going, as an Agile coach, I'll actually be a federal employee. I will do the work, and I will come and I will help to transform the IT organization. And within 3 months, I believe, of getting there, he stuck me on procurement. Because, well, we had a very important procurement coming through. We needed people to evaluate, and he wanted someone who actually understood Agile on the evaluation team, and we needed it. So this first procurement that I was on was 50 written pages, and it was 3 of us sitting in a room for 6 weeks because there were 40 plus proposals, because that's an effective way of getting an Agile team in the door. So I think that we started in September. We actually awarded that procurement sometime in November or December. We went, wow, we need to do something different, because this is not an effective thing to do. I will say, I'm an Agile coach. Even in that 50-page and everything, I used Agile processes to get us through that as quickly as we could. We made all of our existing stuff transparent as you can be when you're in the middle of procurement, because obviously there's only a certain number of people who are allowed to see it, but all of those people could see exactly where we were and how we were doing it. And everyone was amazed and shocked when the technical evaluation was completed before the business evaluation. They went, no, but they have less work to do. Yes, I know, but we're going to execute this way. So having procurements measured in months, quarters, and years is an untenable position for executing an Agile transformation. I hear laughter, because it's true. Evil laughter. So it is a totally untenable situation, and yet it's very common in the federal government to have time frames that are that long. I am currently working on things that we expect to come out within the next several months, and then after we propose for them, they will then take I don't know how long to actually award. There are things that came out when I joined Sevatec in August that we think might be awarded in June. It's hard to run your business that way. It's hard as a federal employee. So it's hard on the contractors, it's hard on the federal government to actually be able to execute when you're delivering that way. They do good things. The federal government does studies on how to make procurement faster. And at about the time they finish the study, then they'll do another study. And we've gotten really good at doing studies. I'm not sure we've actually improved procurement in doing those studies. So Mark and I said, hey, we need to change this. We need to follow lean processes, we need to follow agile processes, and we need to start experimenting. And boy, did we experiment, because it was fun. We did demos, we did orals. I want you to come in and actually tell me what you know. Wait, I don't just want you to come in and tell me, I want you to come in and answer questions that you don't know before you arrive, so I know that you know this answer and not someone else. At about, I don't know, I would guess probably a year-ish into working on these different procurement experiments, trying different things, we said, okay, we're going to try it was in the middle of this set, we're going to try a 30-day procurement experiment. So this is how do we get delivery in 30 days? When we set it up, Mark created a big, hairy, audacious goal. And he said, I want a team on the ground in 30 days from the time the business tells me I need one. And we all laughed. And he said, okay, yes, I admit that's not possible. With existing procurement, with existing delivery, it simply wasn't possible. We said, okay, but 30 days, and that is still the goal, is 30 days from the time the business needs it until the team's on the ground. But we're going to start with 30 days from the time that we release the RFP, the request for proposal, out to the contractors to tell us what they need until the time that we award. Maybe we can do that. We're going to try at any rate. And so we did it. We found a good program that we had a PM who was very active and wanted to be part of this experiment. We found contracting officers who were willing to kind of play because, well, their management told them, no, you're going to help, you're going to make this work. And we created a team to execute a 30-day procurement. The lawyer actually was great, which may surprise some people, but the lawyer got it, understood it, and helped, which was awesome. I miss her. She's since left the federal government. She was one of the better lawyers that I'd met in the federal government. So we got a procurement out, and yeah, we probably had a month, 6 weeks creating the RFP before we ever got the procurement out. But we got the procurement out. We put it out on a vehicle that restricted the number of people who could actually respond to this thing, because we knew that if we had too many, it would blow up. So we had, I think it was 4, maybe 5 people come in, do demos, write a very short proposal on the order of 4 to 5 pages, and we evaluated them, we did them back to back so that we could do them quickly. We then turned, obviously you have to do pricing, the contracting community, the contracting officer and specialist got the pricing turned around fast. We got everything done, they came together, it went to the source selection official. Those are in lean, may be, okay, you've got a lot of places where you have potential wait steps. Went to the source selection official, who was Mark, who'd been pushing on contracting and on us and on everyone else to get it done. He said, yes, this is who we're going to select. We grabbed, the lawyer, made sure that all of the legal writing was done, and we were successful in our first 30-day procurement in about 82 days. But it was a success. And this is something that I think is important, is the fact that we did not meet the stated goal of doing 30 days doesn't mean we weren't successful with that experiment. That experiment was a success in a lot of ways. It told us all the places that we had major issues with trying to actually do 30 days. I'll also say, B, we got a procurement awarded in 82 days. If you've been in the federal government, that ain't bad. I'm going to take the wins where I can get them. But more importantly, it said, hey, we can work together. We've started to break down hey, contracting is this separate group that we're not going to really interact with except for when we have to, and we're going to start working as a team in order to get to the next proposal and get the next thing done. I'd like to say, and then we did it again, and it was more successful. And we did it again. And when we did it the second time, we said, okay, we're going to do another 30-day experiment, because the intent was we're going to run multiple 30-day experiments until we can actually get to a 30-day procurement. We ran the second 30-day experiment, and it took at least 3 months. Like, wait, what happened? You're going the wrong direction. Yeah, because once we got the first one done, it wasn't shiny anymore. Even though we had many places to go still, it was no longer the shiny piece for management to actually pay attention to. And so we had progress, and it continues to get better. I'm not saying that it is horrible now. We are continuing to get better. But without the management push that we had in that initial 30-day experiment, we backtracked. And it wasn't a deliberate backtrack by any stretch of the imagination, but it was oh, well, if I'm not pushing this to the front of the queue, then it will get dealt with in its time frame. And so now we have a 30-day experiment, and I'm going to get the project plan from the contracting officer that says it's going to take 8 weeks before I ever start my 30-day experiment. And you say, 30-day, 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 30-day. Yes, okay, we'll trim 2 weeks off. It's still not a 30-day plan. At least give me a 30-day plan. So we talk about culture, we talk about the way in which things go, and culture is vital. You don't change culture in an 82-day successful 30-day experiment. It has to be that continued push, and actually my argument is that culture is the antagonist in many of our transformations. It's the cultural change, and it's the continued cultural push over years and years that allows us to actually get to where we want to be. Now, it's not all bad, I swear. We have actually made lots of continued changes within USCIS, actually it's now expanding out to DHS and to other areas on the procurement front. We're now doing demos. I was a large part of what is called FLASH, which is the Flexible Agile Services for the Homeland. It's federal government. They're gonna come up with an acronym. We also now have a coaching contract called SEED, Services for Enabling Agile Delivery. You have to have an acronym. But for the FLASH procurement, this was at a DHS-wide level. So we took many of the lessons learned out of USCIS. For the FLASH procurement at a DHS-wide level, we said we're going to release a $1.5 billion vehicle, because that's small and contained, of course. But we'd done a couple of small and contained experiments first, and we released it small business. So we shouldn't get as many people who apply. IBM can't directly compete for that. And it was going to be 100% demo, except for 2 pages that were written for staffing, which is awesome. That's what we should be doing. We had 111 people reply to this. Okay, all of them have to go through demo. 111 contractors replied to that. All of them went through demo in 5 weeks. 4-hour demos for each of those contractors. And on the federal side, yes, we were working a lot for those 5 weeks. And we engaged USDS to provide code analysis so that we were actually looking at the code that was created in these demos. We engaged people on the UX side. When they came in to do demo, we'd had a product owner who would sit there with them so we can observe how do you interact with a product owner, how do you develop code, how do you get things out. And these demos are continuing. We're continuing to look at show me, don't tell me. How do you actually execute? How do we get better delivery out of our contract staff, out of people that you're trying to bring into your company. I honestly look at these and I say, hey, you know what? I'd actually like to run part of my HR this way. I'd like to, and I know companies do this, at least some. I want to bring in people and try them out. I want to bring in contractors and try them out. I know it's a demo and it's only 4 hours, but it's better than a 50-page written proposal because that's what we're doing now. We're moving, so I will admit there were several people who got a little concerned at trying to deal with 111 demos for particularly something that wasn't DHS-wide. They said, okay, we got to figure out a way to reduce the pool before we actually do the demos. And so we started doing videos. Videos are awesome, mostly. So we started doing videos, and so now instead of writing 50 pages, videotape your team that's going to come in and talk about these 5 things and how your company does these and a little bit about your past performance so that we can actually, we can at least see you and have some interaction and some understanding of what your company is like. It's much more efficient than reading a proposal. I highly recommend, and I know that many people have to do procurements that are not necessarily covered by FAR and DFAR and whatever else, which are the federal acquisition regulations and the defense federal acquisition regulations. But move to that show, don't tell environment where I want you to actually come in, demonstrate, give me something other than a written proposal and a price. If I'm buying pens, that's fine. If I'm buying something that is in the complex arena and I need some way of understanding how you work, not just that you can produce an article that is in existence. Yeah, I've got a few seconds left. So the one last thing that I want to talk about that we are doing, which I encourage everyone to do, is that we are increasing transparency, or the federal government is increasing transparency as much as possible. They're doing more and, in my opinion, better debriefs after award, both for winners as well as people who did not win. Before procurement's coming out, having a bigger discussion, a longer discussion about what is possible, how it is possible, and what the government is looking for. So I want to leave you with, yeah, pay attention to the culture, because in order to do, I think, honestly, in order to do any of the things that we've talked about here, including the procurement, including all the others, it has to be about changing the underlying culture, changing where your risk is possible, changing where you're willing to take risks, and actually making people feel safe in taking those risks. Thank you all. I appreciate it.